Alright everybody, so stream's just starting. I assume it will take probably a moment as usual for the notifications to go out. I see there's one person on, but generally it takes about 30 seconds to a minute, sometimes even 2 minutes to get all the notifications out. Alright? Right, Mike? You might recognise this on me from earlier. It's not done any readings yet, so I might try resetting it. So, if it's not doing anything, what I'll do is I'll try and demonstrate how to reset it on camera, because that might interest some people. But it's quite an interesting thing, so don't forget to like the stream, everybody, because it does help them get shared. Now, I don't know if on the webcam you'll be able to see this, because you have to hold it up to the light and look through the end, but let's just see if we can get anything to show through there. I might be able to shine a torch and see the other end if this doesn't work. But it's very awkward to get these to kind of work on a camera. Right, let me get a torch and shine it in the other end and just see if that makes it bright enough to actually, if that doesn't just blot out the light on the thing. Hopefully. You can kind of see it there. Don't know if that's upside down at the moment, but it's very awkward to do this on camera. But basically, let me put the torch on low. Although this torch is still going to be pretty bright. But what this is one of those dosimeters where it actually has the little needle that goes across. We were chatting about this in the Discord earlier. Because annoyingly, when I first got this, I managed to accidentally discharge it. And then I was like, oh shit, I've got nothing to charge it with. And we were looking around on eBay and we couldn't find the chargers very cheaply for this. You know, like, even if you could get a charger for like £30 for it, the price of the actual, like, shipping on a lot of those things is like £30 as well. So, luckily what I found out is my DP66 Polish Geiger counter, it's actually got, there's been a hole in it that I've never like realised what it was for. I was like, is that like something that originally, because I know apparently they used to have like a radioactive thing on the Geiger counter as a check source, but they had to take them off to like ship them or something. So I was like, is that the, you know, I didn't know what it was. And then when I looked closer, it's like, might as well examine it. And I think Hype said, oh, is there a thing on your Geiger counter as well that you can check it with? So I thought, I'll have a look. And then, lo and behold, yes, you can charge them from the Geiger counters themselves, which is pretty cool, you know, Soviet innovation. Oh, we put the Geiger counter. In the Geiger counter, you have charger for dosimeter. So, I might try and reset it again. Let me just check this, because the Rontgens at the moment, the problem is the bit at the moment is left of 0, so Hype thinks that might be overcharged. So let's see if I can just get this to reset a moment. I'll get properly into the chat in a bit. I'm just going to see if I can demonstrate this on stream, because this might interest people. So, with the Rontgens, it's left of 0. So I think if you just push the screwdriver into there, that essentially releases the charge from it. So is the needle still at? Right, yeah, the needle has disappeared now. So let me get my Geiger counter. And, let's see if I can demonstrate this. So, basically on this Geiger counter, that bit there is the bit you recharge it from. So, annoyingly on the bed, you're probably not going to be able to see it all that well. But I'm going to see if I can get this in frame. Yeah, you hopefully be able to see it there. So, I'm not sure the exact procedure for this, because as I said it didn't zero quite right, but you've got a dial here that you can turn. So I'm assuming that you turn it one way to zero it. So it says DKP 50, and that's what these are called, DKP 50s. So let's put that in there, push it down, then flick this all the way on, and then turn this slowly around. Right, now let me look through the other end and see if it's actually got the arrow on there. There, can't see it. Let's try again. Because obviously there's no instructions for this, but Let me just try turning it the other way around in case it zeros the other way around. Ah, I've zeroed it to the far side now, that's interesting. So yeah, that is the zeroing thing. Now unfortunately this probably won't show up on the camera, but the thing is on the exact far opposite side now. So yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to see that on the webcam, probably not. But, oh, thank you very much, Mr. Untitled. Cheers. Right, let me just try and zero this back again. So yeah, it seems the zeroing bit is this bit. So I'm assuming that you don't quite turn it all the way. Let's try it to about there. Oh, I think that's just about got it. It might need to go right ever so slightly more. Right, I think that's hopefully going to have done it. Oh wait, no, that's gone to 10 Rontgen now. Okay, so this is a very sensitive dial. Right. It's just ever so slightly right of 0. Still right of 0. Still right of 0, that's strange, unless I have to turn it all the way to one end and then the other again. It's on about 2 Rontgen at the moment. Right, let me see if I can try this again. So. Right, that's fully set again. So put this in, turn it all the way around, see where it ends up. Left of 0. I've done it, I've gotten 0. Right. Now, I'll put the thing on so I don't accidentally do the thing again, because I don't want to lose the charge now. But now maybe, as I said, it's not going to be very good with the light, but maybe you will be able to see. Actually, I've got an idea. If I turn this on and put this in the zoom mode, will it show the end up better? Ooh. Without blinding the viewers. I don't think, sadly, I'm going to be able to show you that, but basically, if I look at this now, let me hold it up to that light, it is pretty much exactly on 0 Rontgen. So, so press the dosimeter down and the backlight illuminates it, then look down the pen. Also, the actually the light on the dosimeter lights up that hole, does it? Cool, let me try that. I've zeroed it now, but you've got me curious about this, so I want to try this. So yeah, thank you, William. Let me see if this actually works. I suppose I have to probably put it to there, don't I? Oh yeah! Thank you, that's really clever. Wow, the wonders of communist technology. Oh yeah, thank you. That is really cool. That is really, really cool. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for that, William. You've made me very happy with that. That's a really cool feature. So you press the button for. Sadly, I won't be able to show you this on camera, but what basically happens is if you press the light up screen button on there, it actually puts the light in there so you can actually turn the dial and zero it in reality. Yeah, that is clever. Because on a lot of these things I looked at, the charging stations, they're just like where you have to guess. So, yeah, thank you for that. That's really cool. Yeah, that surprised me. I don't know why, because like I said earlier, I was just messing about with it for ages. Because to start with, I had it put in there, and I thought, is it a thing of, you know, it just has to sit in there for like 10 minutes to an hour to charge? And obviously, then I worked out it's something to do with that dial, but yeah, obviously you're right, what you're meant to do is illuminate it so you can look down it and then use the dial to zero it. But yeah, that's really cool. So, now, let's see if we can get the magic to happen. Now, because this is Rontgens, this might not work all too well, but let's get the magic pottery. That's not going to let me see through it, is it, if I do that? I just wanted to see if in real time I could see the needle start moving, but because it's such a low, I mean, Geiger counter's still pretty hot for what it is, but it's, you know, not going to be very much on the Rontgen scale, is it? But tell you what, I'll put the Fiesta ware and the, do you know if this blocks the beta stuff, the plastic in there? It wouldn't, would it? Because it's plastic, it would only block alpha. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to nestle that in there like that. And then put that there on my bed, which is a really stupid place to put it, I know. And then what I want to see is if, you know, the needle has moved by the end of the stream, but I doubt it will have, because obviously that's Rontgens, not, you know, a small measurement. We were testing out Polish technology. Oh, I've already said I really like HBO's Chernobyl. I mean, I bought the soundtrack to that today, actually, because the soundtrack's finally been released on Amazon. Cool, Mike, you've not missed anything. But, I've now got the, dosimeter sitting on the Fiesta ware. So, should we actually have a stream thing on topic, then? Well, I mean, this isn't a topic stream, but, at the moment, nobody seems to be talking about anything consistent in the chat. That would be very inhumane, Iron Man Spot, and most of the time it just leads to cancers and deaths, doesn't it? Not actually, eBay. I think the seller was called K-Bar something or other. But yeah, basically I just went on eBay and I found a seller selling old military signs, so I bought a gas mask one. So it's like a fiberglass sign. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'd say spear point, probably. Because if you're actually going to have to thrust it, obviously a point like that penetrates better because of just physics. But I've got a tiny bit of silver and gold, but I don't know if they're genuine peach, but I've got no interest in hoarding silver or gold. That's a good point, Riley, because if you put it next to grass, it makes the grass die really quickly, doesn't it? I mean, I don't know how much radiation you need for that, but I know of Chernobyl, apparently, like, the red forest, turning into the red forest was one of the first things that happened with the exposure. Let me see if I can get the link up to the seller. Alright, here we go. Just a second. This is the guy I bought the dosimeter from as well, but there's other sellers of these dosimeters, so you know, if you wanted to get one, you don't have to get one of those from him, but that's strange. I wouldn't consider an air rifle to be a toy at all. I think that's a bit dangerous if you treat something that has the potential to kill somebody as a toy. You know, it should be respected really for what it is. No, I've actually checked loads of the masks in here with the Geiger counter, and I've never ever got readings off of any of them. While that Geiger counter's out, let's just see if I can get it ticking away. Sometimes it doesn't want to work, but... Oh, he's working today, good. Where is he? No. No, it doesn't want to work again, unfortunately. The weird thing I get with this Geiger counter sometimes, which I've probably said quite a few times before in the chat, is this one, the DP66, sometimes seems really temperamental if it wants to actually get a reading or not off of something. I don't know if I need it on circuit test mode for ages. Yeah, but never mind, I'll go back to reading the chat. But if that was gonna play ball, I could just run the wand across a load of gas masks to show you they're not actually hot, but they're not. Most filters, though, are completely brand new when you get them. I suppose a lot of military filters are second hand, but the chances are they've been used with somewhere with radiation is so slim. CRT TVs still give pretty good pictures. Let me try and remember, Andre, the name of the mask. It's called something 60, I think is the name of the mask. Y60. If you search into Google, Soviet Y60 mask. Although now loads of GP5s are coming up, but it's because I got a picture of one to come up then. Let me see if PY60M. Search PY60M. PY60M mask. And now stuff about Zelda's coming up, but never mind. But yeah, that's the name of it, but for whatever reason, I suppose it's probably because it's a Cyrillic one, I don't know, but I have no idea, Uncle Sasha, because I have no idea about like recycling of electronic goods. Which one's M62 camo? I'll have to look it up, because there's quite a few different camos with M and then number names, and I won't remember all of them. Oh, the old Finnish one, yeah, that's cool. If it's not faded anyway, because a lot of the pictures of it in like surplus stuff now is really faded, but when the colours are pretty vibrant, it reminds me a bit of the Yugoslav camo I've got, one of the Yugoslav ones, and that's cool, so yeah. I really like those old civil defence Geiger counters, Daniel. The one that I'd only ever bother getting them though if it's the one where you can put the alpha probe on it. Because you get some, don't you, which you can have the alpha or beta probe on, then there's some that only detect gamma, because the gamma ones are just like, they haven't got a wand on, it's only if gamma gets in the ionisation chamber. I wouldn't ever buy a Spyderco knife, as I've said before, because they're really overpriced, but is that Boca Magnum? I think Mike's had some Boca knives before and he said they're good. But you can get Ganzos that do copies of certain Spyderco knives and other brands of knives, and they're pretty decent knives. Good like washers and ball bearings in them and everything. So it's ball bearings is the word rather than washers, but you know, they move nice and easy. Yeah, Andrew, that's the name of it, at least as it appears in like English on eBay. Let me just see if I can link you to one. Hang on, because I might be able to get it back up again. Let me just search Soviet 60 respirator to see if any come up. Lots of pictures of Lenin coming up for some reason. I mean, if you Google Soviet 60 mask, the first result that comes up for me is that one. Let's see if this is still a valid link. I hope it's not an expired... Oh no, this item is out of stock. I mean, I can link you to the thing so you can see what I'm on about, but... There you go. Oh, is that the old Norwegian ones, the Helly Hansen one? I know the one you're on about. Didn't you see it earlier? It's there. Yeah, I thought you were joking, Iron Man Spartan. Waiting for some more comments. I'm only going to be on for an hour tonight, because I've got a rehearsal this evening. Yeah, so does anybody know of that DP66, why it sometimes just doesn't want to work? Because I'd love to know, but I actually don't. I don't know what sort of opening system that is, Proforce. In the UK, you have to basically have a knife that manually opens, you know, like where you do that to open it, or one where you can flick it out like that. You know, where obviously you have to put the momentum into the knife blade itself. If you've got a knife where it's like a button that you press and the knife blade springs out or whatever, they're not legal. Oh, you mean that one? That's the Y2K. Like the one hanging in the background. Just search Y2K respirator for that one. Let me search that one up. What R2 mask is that? rzmask.com, is this it? Oh, is it still on my bed? Because if it is, I got a new dust mask today, which I'm going to test. Oh, good, it's here. This one seems a lot better. Oh, weirdly enough, the thing they're showing on their site looks exactly like the thing I've just got in my hand now. But yeah, basically I got one of these because what I want to do is doing some videos testing some of the really cheap or like popular dust masks you can get on places like eBay for hay fever kind of use, so not for serious use. But bonjour, Sportman. But basically, this one is a lot better than some of the other ones, at least from what I've seen from a preliminary test. I'll test it with the dogs tomorrow. But basically, it's got the nose clip on this one, so it should keep that bit sealed up there. And it's got the exhale valves that seem to work slightly. So we'll see if this one's any good. Unless they expect you to actually do it up there, but no, that's not going to actually... they do want it done up at the back, don't they? But problem with this is it's still got the problem lots of these have, where it's not really all that Ah, never mind. Yeah, it's a gas mask sort of sign. I think it's for like a firing range kind of thing. No, my friend has 4 dogs and I volunteer at an animal shelter, so I help him walk them sometimes. And when I'm volunteering, I kind of need a dust mask like this, because if you're working with lots of pet fur and stuff like that, it really sets my hay fever off. So obviously, what I'm trying to do is see if I can get any, like, you know, more lightweight masks rather than going for proper full face respirators or half face respirators for working in the dusty conditions. As in Y2K, not TK, Andre. Almost like year 2000 Y2K. What do you mean by the cupboard, Daniel? Let me search what you've put into the chat. Hang on a minute, Uncle Sasha. Oh, for the Geiger counter. So there's forum threads where people are talking about it, but not like technical sort of things. Anyway, yeah, I'll go back to the chat now. But thank you anyway. Oh, thanks, Mr. Untitled, again. Oh, it's not a cupboard. What it is basically, it's like there's a panel at the back, and it's like the panel covers the electronic plugs for the lighting system. So yeah, no, that's fine. But yeah, you can open it with a pen if you're like really patient. But yeah, because it's a Phillips screwdriver thing, obviously if you use a Swiss Army knife, you can just do that a few times and get the panel off. So it's not really a cupboard, but yeah, I get what you mean now. Yeah, it's like, say you had like a wooden wall. It's where they've got like a bit that screws onto the wall, so people can't stick their fingers in the plug sockets or whatever. That's all it is, but yeah. So obviously it's meant to be for official use only. So they expect you to have a screwdriver. The problem is a lot of us always forget to bring a screwdriver. No, I didn't bother going back on our gas masks because I think we said before, didn't we, that there was a load of people still moaning about me on there, so I thought, leave them to it. You know, I said I'm not going to get involved in the drama. Like I said, I've done an unblock amnesty, and I've unblocked loads of people on YouTube. And everybody that's come back on YouTube has been really polite, and we've had good conversations about things, but, you know, I can't really be bothered to go onto other websites to try and argue points or whatever. I could recharge the batteries, but it seems to be fine because obviously it turns on, does the check. Sometimes it works not, but yeah, I'll recharge the batteries in there. Yeah, I don't know if that would be UK legal though, Proforce. Avon CT12 is my favourite gas mask. I'm just sort of playing about with this a bit to see if I can get this working any better. So obviously how this works is those bits are the bit you breathe through, and then they obviously match up with that bit there. Seems to be a fairly decent design. I mean, there's one way I could try and test it. Let me just see if I can smell incense with it on, because Hype said that would work. I'm not going to light some incense. I've got, that's what I was using earlier, Andre. Fiestaware. This really makes it go off the scale, but like I'm saying, sometimes I just turn it on and it won't do anything. It's really random. Alright, let me have a quick look at this now and see if we're getting anything on here. It still looks like it's 0 Rontgen. The only problem with this is where your eye is looking through it shows you where the needle seems to move. So, yeah, that's a bit annoying. So I'm not quite sure exactly where the needle zeroed, but it might have gone up ever so slightly, I'm not sure. I'll leave it there for longer and we'll see if anything happens. Let me just pop that back in there. Put the Fiesta wear back in there next to it. Well, the thing is, at least if I want a modern Geiger counter, the good thing is I've got the SOX one. And at some point, if I spot one for a decent price that does alpha as well, I'll definitely buy one where I can test alpha stuff, where it's got, you know, like the little alpha cover you remove. But, yeah, anyway, let me test this quickly. Have I put that on upside down? Right. Let's try and get this as tight as possible. Right, that seems to be a bit tighter. Right. So let's get this strange looking bloke up. That's covered in dust. So I guess that should partially prove if it's working if I start sneezing or not. I'm getting a very faint smell, but some of that could actually be from like actual vapours. It's a nice smell though. But the dust isn't making me sneeze. But yeah, this definitely seems a lot better than some of the other cheapo dust masks. And obviously, the thing is, it's not going to be P3, is it? It's going to be maybe P1 or P2. But yeah, I'll test it at some point. I'll test it tomorrow when I walk the dogs, to be fair. No. Do you want to quickly sum it up for us, Richard? As I said, I'm not particularly interested in internet drama, but I'm not a big fan of Shadowversity, so you can point out if you want. B came on my falchion video going, that's not a falchion. I don't know, Sir Roofington, but as I said, I'm not getting involved in drama. I don't know if it goes to the left or the right when it's discharged, because when it's fully discharged, you can't see the needle at all. I don't have a Czech NBC raincoat, but I've got some of the. I've got a Czechoslovakian trench coat. That's pretty cool. Like an officer's trench coat. But I've not got a Czech NBC suit or whatever. But I'm sure it'll be fine. Most of that sort of stuff is. But I mean, most NBC suits are like overkill for raincoats. But if you want to use it as a raincoat, you can do. What I might do a video on at some point this week, if not I'll film it next week, but bear in mind these videos aren't going to be up for like a month anyway, is I might just try and do a DIY particle mask. You know, something a bit like this, where I'll get some rags, cut them, stitch them together, like make some elastic for them, and see if I can make something that works against dust. Yeah, I read it was quartz earlier. No, it moves. Because, like I was saying, I can move it in the Geiger counter as we were doing earlier when I zeroed it. But the thing is, as we were saying, I don't know if you're talking about the pen now or the Geiger counter. With this thing, at least, the thing is, because it's in Rontgens, I'm not exactly in a nuclear contaminated area, so the needle is going to move very slowly, because stuff like Fiesta ware is going to take quite a while to move the needle. Obviously it's got a little particle exhale valve on this bit as well. It's an interesting little thing, isn't it? Yeah, the FMJ05 is very good, or the MF11, whichever one it's called. Yeah, £18 for that's a fantastic price. Was one of them right, or were they both wrong, Richard? Oh, if you want to collect them, Ryder, do. But, you know, don't waste money on them if you're not interested in collecting them. It's up to you, isn't it? I can't tell you what you should collect or shouldn't collect, you know. Yeah, but you do know that drain cleaner is most likely a vapor threat, Conrad, and a particle filter is going to do nothing to protect you from vapor. I'm just sort of going to point that out. Just going to have a little look at one of these valves in a minute. So obviously that bit, all that does is to lock for it, but I'm sort of quite interested, does this bit open or not? Because it looks like you can sort of prise it. I don't know if it's just because it's quite flimsy feeling. But see, this bit moves, that's why I'm wondering why that bit moves. Ah, there we go. Okay, so that's just where you can literally take the particle filter out. So what they've done is that particle filter there just works as an exhale valve, because obviously when you breathe out it flaps open ever so slightly, but that cover stops it coming off. That's how they've done that. Well, you need a half face or a full face gas mask with the right kind of filter on it. So you need a filter with charcoal in at least. Alright, glad you enjoyed it, Aaron. Like I said, I'm only going to do them very occasionally, because most of the time I like to keep politics off of my channel, but yeah, if you're interested, then get some cheap surplus ones to begin with, Ryder, and then see if you want to carry on with it. I don't know, Oppo, I doubt you've been blocked, because as said, everybody's who asked for an unblock's been unblocked. Oh, so you're trying to, like, avoid black mold or whatever, yeah. Well, it's better than nothing, but as said, yeah, really you need a proper filter, don't you, for stuff like that. Things like the GP5 Rider, things like even a GP7 potentially if you can get one cheap enough. The Soviet PDF's children's masks. Yeah, there's a lot of masks you can go for that are very cheap for beginners. I wouldn't suggest opening a filter with a can opener, because you obviously risk spreading everything that's in the filter everywhere. Right, I'll put this back together now. And I've got to go out in a bit. So that bit pushes through there. Oh wait, no, this bit pushes through there first, doesn't it? The valve for this bit, yeah, so that bit goes there. Then that just goes onto it and swivels around to lock. So then closes this direction. There we go, that's closed, and then you just point that swivel the entire thing around till the valves are both pointing down. There we go. Yeah, GP5 is good as a starter mask because you can obviously get GP5s very cheaply. And obviously just don't breathe through the filter, but, you know, you at least get to experience having a gas mask, don't you, if you do that with a GP5. Just see if I can get this on. Again, let me take my glasses off to start with, because that might help getting a better face seal. Yeah, I suppose it does do up like that, doesn't it? So yeah. Yeah, it seems pretty good. Let me just try sniffing the box again. Yeah, only a very faint odour, so yeah, I guess this is working fine as a particle filter. What's a WZ24 or WZ32? Let me Google them. Oh, masks. I don't know, because if they're really old masks, I don't know. I've never seen them on the UK eBay. Well, yeah, if you can get one of those Helly Hansen masks or whatever it is for only not much money, you know, and it's got 10 sealed filters, I'd go for it. eBay, I'd say Sherry, because there's a lot more masks on eBay than anywhere else. Just because basically anybody can sell stuff on eBay, whereas on Amazon it's generally more bigger companies. Depends really what you're looking for. Are you looking for surplus or a brand new, like, really good functional respirator? Because if you want a really good brand new functional respirator, hardware shops are actually probably the best place, because obviously they sell it to people who need them for their jobs. I don't know if it's hidden something. Oh. There we go. Alright, Rich, I don't really know enough about Bose, but yeah, he was going... I will show you, because he did piss me off. When he came on a video of my falchion, was going, "That isn't a falchion, that's not a falchion. Watch my video on falchions to understand why it's not a falchion." It's a fucking falchion. It's a late generation English style falchion, which is again becoming a backsword, but this has all the points a falchion's meant to have. A cleaving blade, you know, still got a point on it because falchions don't not have to have points. Alright, let me get the falchion balance back there so it doesn't fall over. $50 US, and it takes 40mm. Yeah, I go for it as long as the mask's in good enough condition that I'd recommend Crazy Scott's Airsoft, that you watch my videos on masks. I recommend, because it totally depends where you are in the world and everything. Okay, is that one where you've got like an air-powered pump on it, Daniel? Because obviously if you've got that, then yeah, that's going to keep you a lot cooler. But if you're wearing a mask and you're having to breathe through the filter, it's going to get very hot. I know most people, if given the option, prefer in a workplace kind of environment having a powered filter, because obviously it's doing most of the work for you, so you don't have to breathe particularly heavily. And yeah, the air's going to be fairly cold coming through because it's essentially blowing air into your face. Oh, probably YouTube doing its thing, Fico, I imagine, like they often do. The stream yesterday crashed. Well, the actual stream didn't. But partway through the stream, none of the chat messages updated. So then I tried to refresh the page and then that wouldn't load. Then I checked it on my phone and there were no new chat messages. And then everybody got logged out of YouTube around, when was it? Around 8 PM UK time? I can't remember exactly when it happened. But then I had to wait hours before I could officially end the stream, even though I closed it down at OBS and I said to people, you know, If you're still watching this, I'm going to have to close the stream down because YouTube's obviously derped. Yeah, battery powered behind hood sounds lovely if you're actually needing it for work. £40 sort of price, Bossness Gaming, in the UK at least. Well, I've never had a Karambit, so I can't really comment on them. I know lots of people go on about them, but I've never really had any interest in them, so, you know. Maybe if there's people in the chat who've got Karambits as well as other knives, they can tell you the pros and cons of them, but... No, I've not blocked anyone recently, Oppo called that. I can't check it just now, but if you want to comment on Weapon Collector's video that he did, asking for me to unblock people, comment on there and I'll check it when I've got more time. I've never done a video on that. I mean, that might be a good idea for a video, but other than duct taping stuff you can duct tape, there's not a lot you can do. With those, Alexander, in theory, you can buy them from Israel. I sometimes see them, but the shipping's quite expensive. It's normally like $30 shipping on top of whatever the price is. But you don't have to buy an Israeli one. You could buy like a, I might even cost you more, but like, if you go to hardware stores, say like, who was saying it? Sorry, I've already forgotten who it was. Daniel was saying. You can get like the hood kind of ones there, which are like a plastic or polycarbonate visor at the front, and then it's like a sort of hood that ties up around your neck. You could use one of those with a powered pump as well, but that might cost you even more than buying a surplus Israeli one, I don't know. You can get Zippos off Amazon, Atomic CS. Well, as I've said before, Le Monsieur, my favourite gas mask is the Avon CT12, so that's the one I'd use if I had to use one. Yeah, that's the problem I have, is because I have that 3M 7500, and I use that quite a lot when volunteering. But the thing is, it's silicone, which is meant to be more comfortable, but I find once you start sweating, silicone is really uncomfortable. I prefer like the more rigid mask, just with a drainage hole in like the chin area. It's Monday evening here, Bootleg Bill. Let me see if I can find what they're called for you, Alexander. There's a 3M one being sold on a UK site. I do not know how good this site is or anything. But this is the kind of thing. You get lots of different brands, so you didn't have to go for a 3M one, and there's some that look a bit better than others, but yeah, that's the kind of thing I think you'd need if you have a beard. Otherwise you're just going to have to shave it off. I mean, another thing you can do, I've never tried this, but apparently like Sikhs do it in the British Army. They put Vaseline on their beard, so then when they wear the mask, the Vaseline makes a full seal of the mask. But I imagine if you had to quickly Vaseline your beard up, in the event of a gas attack, that might be a bit, unhandy. No problem, Alexander. Nearly all of them Conrad from eBay. Oh, it just drains out the exhale valve, so I can't really get it down and show you because it's hanging up, but say with this GP7 here, notice the exhale valve's right at the bottom where the chin is. Basically, when enough liquid pools up at the bottom of the mask, it just opens the exhale valve, it pours out under its own pressure, and then the valve closes again. Or when you exhale, it pushes the moisture out with the thing. Whereas if you have an exhale valve, say on the nose area of the mask or the side, the liquid isn't necessarily going to be blown out when you exhale, because it might just keep, storing at the bottom of the mask. Personally, it depends. If you're wearing a mask for general use, I prefer side-loading filters. if you're using a mask for like wearing it with a satchel and then using it with a hose and a big canister, then bottom loading are definitely better because you've not got the hose pulling one side of the mask. I've done a video on it, Conrad, doing it in more detail, but really it depends. For most people, side loading filters are better. But if you're using a particularly big filter, you're going to want a hose with it in a satchel around your waist, and then you're going to want the, you know, a mask where the connector's near the bottom, so the hose doesn't pull one side. Well, I'm not in a country where I can shoot service rifles, Hunter, so I can't really recommend it. I'm sure there's plenty of gun channels, though, that can tell you the benefits of AR-15s versus AKs and everything else. Yeah, well, it's a good deal regardless of if it's an S10, an FM12, a CT12, whatever. €15. I know in Serbia that would probably be more of like more money to you than it would be for us, because obviously I'm assuming like your minimum wage or whatever is much lower than we have in the UK, but €15 is still very good for one, yeah. Yeah, so I take Weapon Collector's advice on karambits because he obviously knows his knives. So, yeah, what he said. Like I said, I don't have a karambit, so I can't really comment. It depends. I've found with some of the masks I've got where the filter goes at the bottom, depending on the stock on the rifle, it can still get in the way. But yeah, it's personal preference at the end of the day. Because obviously, if you get something like the FM12 or CT12, where you can swap the filters to each side, you just swap it if you're left or right-handed, and then that's simple, and it won't get in the way. Or if you bought a mask like the BEM 4GP, you can just have the filter left, right, or down, depending on which way you twist the thing. If I want to be an Avon fanboy, Atomic CS, the Scott GSR, if I want to genuinely say what the worst mask in my collection is, maybe the Hungarian, is it the M76 it's called? It's the Civil Defence mask, which is a bit like a GM30, but the problem with it is that it's, like, I've got a size 4, which is the biggest size. It's still too small for me, and it's not got a very good peripheral seal at all. It's a cool looking mask, don't get me wrong, it's a bloody cool looking mask, but, in terms of if I had any kind of mask that took a 40mm filter or whatever, that would be like the last one on my list to choose, just because I don't think I'd ever get it to seal tight to my face. Yeah, Paul Harrell's done quite a few videos on AKs versus AR, and generally the point Paul always makes, which I think's what I really like about his channel, is it's whatever you're the most proficient in shooting, basically. So both rifles are probably good enough to most shooters if they have enough training with the rifle. And like, because he's a very good marksman, he can shoot slightly better with an AR than an AK. But he obviously makes the point in the video that obviously, if you can get an AK and you train well with the AK, it's not going to matter, is it? Because most people can't shoot more accurately than the rifle can shoot. What's the PUBG mask? Is that the Spetsnaz helmet? The Soviet titanium helmets? Finnish M61 is one of my favourite masks. The Finnish M61 V2 was the first mask I ever got. Ideally, Conrad, I would like something a bit like the Vista Visionaire, but like made from a really strong impact polycarbonate. So I'd like the entire face piece to be a panoramic kind of lens. Probably like a silicone inner mask for the oral nasal cup so you can see through it. And then, you know, just a decent voice diaphragm, a decent drinking tube system. Obviously I can't design my own mask, really, because I've not got any resources or factories to do it. But I think something like that, just made to be really, really durable. Yeah, the only problem is, as I say, my hay fever's bad when the weather's sunny, but I do like it when the weather's sunny, because work is never as busy when it's a sunny day. Because weirdly, we're always busier at work when it's raining, or it's a cold day. And obviously I have got masks and antihistamines when my hay fever is bad, but, you know, I do like the warm weather. The thing is, I tan quite easily and I don't get sunburnt, so that's good for me, but, yeah, the only thing I don't like about the summer is obviously hay fever. Yeah, The statue of Sandero is still excellent. It can survive Chernobyl if you've seen that Top Gear episode of the Sandero. I'll be on for another 5 minutes and then I'll finish. Let's have a look at my dosimeter. I reckon that needle has moved ever so slightly. So yeah, I reckon we're not at 3.6 Rontgen yet, comrades, but I reckon we'll be there eventually. I'll leave it in the thing overnight and then I can check it in the morning, but yeah. I've already forgotten, but a big thank you to whoever it was that told me how to zero it using that dosimeter, because that was really handy. As I've already said on this stream, I need the Avon CT12. Yeah, we were saying before, weren't we, Richard, that it's probably possible to buy one of those snorkel masks, because they obviously have to be watertight. Get a snorkel mask and then somehow fit a filter or a hose to the snorkel intake, and then you could actually use it as a gas mask. If I can get one cheap, I'll do that at one point as a DIY project. Yeah, I ended up buying an aircon this year, Proforce, just because my room is horrible in the summer. It's already at 27 degrees centigrade, and it will only get hotter. Because this house was obviously built when English winters were really cold. Well, I know people say, oh, it's not really cold if you're in Finland or somewhere like that, but you know what I mean. So houses were designed to be very energy efficient for storing heat. So thanks to the fact it's getting hotter every summer now, these rooms become unbearable. And my room is also the one where the like boiler heater tank thing's in. So that means that the room's even hotter for that, because every time anybody runs the hot water, that's generating heat in this room. The M2's pretty good. Don't know if I trust my life on it, because obviously there's very few masks I would trust my life on, really. But I don't have any problems with it. I'd certainly use it against tear gas, dust and stuff like that. But obviously, as I've said before, if I've got the option, I'd use something like the Fushida F2 or the Avon CT12 or whatever if I wanted to. Because, you know, if you're like me and you've got over 100 masks, you're going to probably, if your life depended on it, go for one of your best masks, aren't you? But the Serbian M2 is still a good mask. Yeah, Celsius, not Fahrenheit, obviously. So thanks again to William Green, because that was very handy knowing that. Yeah, sadly I'm still not going to be able to show it really on camera, am I? But, yeah. It's very interesting actually seeing the light in there and then like turning the dial ever so slowly as you zero it. It might vibrate with the voice diaphragm hunter unless you're using it with a big coffee can style filter, but obviously don't use the old Soviet coffee can filters. Yep, with UK house prices, Conrad, there's no choice but for me to do anything but that. If I wanted to buy a one-bedroom house in the rough area I live without moving to another part of the country, one in an absolute dump would be 300 grand at a minimum. If I wanted to rent, I'd be losing over half my pay per month paying rent, and that's ignoring utilities. So there's no point me moving out, as I've said before. eBay, Weenpool, as I've said before, with all the masks, just go on eBay, type in PMG2 or GP5M and then find a seller who's selling a black one. When I bought mine, it was a bundle where I think for like 10 quid I got a grey one and a black one together. I will stream tomorrow. Don't know what time yet, it might just be in the evening. I might do a theme stream tomorrow or Wednesday. It might be a spooky stream, it might be something else. The only problem with theme streams is they don't always stay on topic. But yeah, I reckon the Rontgens have gone up a little bit. Or Rentgen, as it, which I guess is a Polish word for Rontgen. Right, we're almost at an hour. The one I paid the most for, Crocodile Squid, was the XM28E4, which I managed to break on stream a couple of weeks ago. So is Happiness and Respirator gone, although I could probably repair it. But that's not necessarily my most valuable mask, because obviously the problem is with all sort of surplus stuff is sometimes the price you're willing to pay for something and the actual market value of it aren't exactly the same. I'm glad you enjoy them, Conrad. I enjoy doing the streams. That's one of the reasons I've been streaming a lot more in the last couple of weeks. You can tell I used to be a smoker, can't you, because of how I'm holding this dosimeter. But yeah, the thing is, when I stream, it's great because I get super chats as well, which obviously support me. So thanks to anybody that ever does super chats or supports me on Patreon and everything. But the other good thing about doing the live streams is it seems to first help YouTube promote you more, because it seems YouTube uses live streams as a metric of how much they should promote a channel. And obviously it's quite nice having a real-time video where it can be a bit more laid back and you can just chat with people. Yeah, don't forget to like the stream, everybody, before I go. But yeah, that's the thing, is obviously when I'm doing a regular video, I have to come up with an idea for a video, I have to film it, I have to edit it, then I have to render it, then I have to upload it. When I'm just doing a stream, I literally start streaming, do the stream, then when I finish it, it goes on as a regular video anyway. So, you know, that's the nice thing about doing streams, at least. I still do 3 regular videos a week, as I have been doing for months, but, you know, since I started my job in August, the current job I'm doing. Thank you very much, Conrad, I appreciate that, thank you. That's Norwegian kroner, I take it. But yeah, that's the thing with what I like about streaming, is that although I still do 3 regular videos a week, and I try and make those quite decent quality, with streams it's much easier for me to just jump on for like an hour and do a stream. Because, you know, when you're doing regular videos, as I said, there's like, even if the video is only 10 minutes long or something, 5 to 10 minutes, it takes me like way over an hour to put those all together. So, you know, in a sense, I could do a stream like tonight and it could still take less time out of my day than if I filmed and edited and rendered and uploaded a regular video. It's for a dust mask, it's good, but it's only P1 rated, I noticed looking at the straps. So, and sadly I don't know what gas mask the Malaysian military uses. Anyway, thanks for watching the stream, everybody. I'll be off now because I have to go out in a bit for a rehearsal. But hope you've all enjoyed the stream, and thanks for all the donations. And also thank you for helping me zero my dosimeter. That's very much appreciated, so thank you.